Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Pallet of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of Warhammer 40k Combat Patrol magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and of course, drop me a comment down below. Whether you're saying just hi, whether you're giving feedback, whether you're asking a question or anything like that, every interaction you have with videos like these goes massive ways to helping small creators such as myself try and earn a penny or two from YouTube. We don't earn a lot, it's, negligible really. Anyway, it all goes a long way to helping out the channel too and helps us grow as well as content creators. Anywho, enough rambling on about that. Obviously this week we're on issue 70, so we're into the final 20 issues of the magazine's run. Before we're going to talk about that, I just want to have a quick word with you guys about helping support the channel. If you really want to, there's many ways you can do it, whether you're watching the videos through to the end, even if you mute it doesn't matter to me. It helps me out a little bit. If you've already watched it, by all means watch it again, click mute. If you want to, you can help the channel by using affiliate links in the description down below for Forbidden Planet, Wayland Games, Element Games and places like that. There you can get you can get yourself some goodies. You can buy your hobby equipment from Element Games and Wayland Games. You can buy yourself, I don't know, a Nintendo Switch 2 if you wanted to from Wayland Games, because why not? And stuff like that. They do sell Warhammer stuff cheaper, so it's always worth having a look for it if you want to get yourself some new paints, whether you want to, I don't know, dive deeper and get more Genestealer cults. Maybe you want to get yourself the Hekaton Land Fortress from the Leagues of Votan range, or any of that good stuff. Or if you want to pre-order some of the new bits and pieces like the new Captain Titus mini that will be coming out in a couple of weeks time, and you want to pre-order that, you can do through those websites, and it gives me a little tiny bit back as well, and helps support the channel. Entirely up to you though, don't feel like you're obligated to, but it's fair if you want to. Anyway, enough rambling on about that type of stuff. Issue 70, it comes with, obviously, part 2 of our good old Goliath rock grinder for the Genestealer cults. So, this is the sprue that has more of the kind of smaller parts to it. So there's a few spindly parts like these railings and stuff like that, and the ladders and them bits and pieces, and a couple of smaller bits as well. Also has your wheels on here and some of the additional details, so like things like the hammer and everything like that can be stuck to the side of it, and a few other bits. So pretty cool stuff, not too bad, not too shabby. And obviously you've got your crew for the vehicle itself as well to add into this. But yeah, pretty cool stuff, and yeah, genuinely I am actually really looking forward to building this. I might actually get all my sub assemblies built ready sooner rather than later, instead of waiting like I was going to, because I do kind of want to build it because it's pretty cool. One thing you will notice with this vehicle, completely different from the last vehicle major vehicle that we had, which was the Boomdacker Snazwagon from the Orc range, you do not get a base for this. The vast majority of Warhammer 40k vehicles do not come with bases, so don't expect them with every vehicle. So for this one, you don't get one. If you buy yourself Baneblade or anything like that, or one of the Rhinos for the Ultramarine Space Marines or anything like that, you don't get a base with them. So it's hit and miss as if you're going to get a base or not with most of the vehicles, but the vast majority of them you don't. So yeah, this is why you don't get one with this one. Anyway, rambling over, the Goliath rock grinder, pretty cool vehicle. Obviously you can make it into the Goliath rock truck as well, which has a slightly different build scheme, which you can find online. They're dead easy to find if you Google build instructions for Goliath rock grinder, you'll find it very easily, and all for free, apart from the websites obviously having a lot of ads on them. Anyway, pretty cool stuff. So super cool vehicle. Obviously painting it, personal opinion, spray paint it. Life a lot easier if you're spraying it, because it gives you a nice even coat. If you want to spray paint it in different ways, you can do. My personal way is, I think I'm probably going to go for a slightly Xenophil style painting for it. So I'm going to probably undercoat it black. Then I will probably give a light kind of spray of grey over it, maybe. Or I'm going to get panel liner, one of the two, and just go grey. Anyway, so different ways of doing it. Obviously, if you're go for sub-assemblies, makes life so much easier, especially for spray painting. It helps you get into all the nooks and crannies, and means you can paint everything in one easier, which is far, far better in my opinion. And obviously you've got your crew and everything like that you can get on with. Once you're painting it, you can go along this line, which does work very, very well. I'm not going to lie, it's a pretty decent paint scheme. It gives you something that looks very similar to the box artwork. You can't really knock it. It does well. Personally, a few things will change. Instead of using Retributor armor, personally use something like Brass Scorpion or something like that on there, or Cyrax Bronze, I think it's called, or one of the other bronzy colours that you can get from different paint ranges and stuff like that. Makes it a little bit different instead of using your golds. So golds are much more precious material, so why would you be using it on just the fixtures and fittings of a truck? But yeah, that's how I'm going to do it anyway. And obviously painting it up and layering it up can make it look really, really cool. You can make a really, really good looking mini from all of this with following this guide, no matter what anyway. If you want to substitute certain colours, you can do. If you want to go for a grimy look, go for a grimy look. If you want to add things like the paint details and stuff like that, so if you want to go for them hazard stripes, get yourself some low tack masking tape and have fun with it, and just use that to kind of guide yourself out where you're going to be painting. If it's low tack, it also means it's not going to pull loads of paint off when you peel it away, and you'll get a really, really good looking mini at the end of it as well. So super cool, have a good bit of fun with it, and yeah, it should be really, really good fun, and I'm expecting you guys to make some really good looking ones. So anyway, pretty cool. I genuinely do like the kit. I think it's actually a really cool vehicle, and yeah, probably one of the top 40k vehicles in my opinion. There will be people who completely disagree with me on that, but yeah, my opinion is my opinion, and I think it's a really cool one. So super cool, and yeah, it's going to look something like that when it's done, which is pretty badass. Anyway, moving on from there, obviously we get more lore for the Genestealer cults, because we're moving into the Astra Militarum as of the next issue. So, the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor. Founded by the Trist dynasty of Gosar Quintus, the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor has since grown to become a terrifying hidden enemy that has spread across half of the galaxy. The cult has tendrils of shadowy influence buried deep in many imperial worlds, and remains an ever-present existential threat to humanity. The Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor is perhaps one of the most insidious hidden threats that humanity, and the galaxy, has ever faced. In a galaxy constantly at war, they cunningly exploit the Imperium's desperate need for labour to support its war machine. They position their clandestine cultists as indispensable industrial workers, allowing them to spread across Imperial space. So, it gives you a little bit more of a background of the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor, one of the biggest of the Genestealer cults, which is the general paint scheme that you get here. Pretty cool, and they are pretty nifty. So, one of the more interesting bits and pieces, they are experts at undermining. They obviously have Gosar Quintus there as well, and yeah, pretty cool. I do quite like this cult. I think it's a pretty interesting one, and yeah, quite fun. Obviously, reading more and more about the different ways the cults kind of spread their influence throughout the Imperium is quite fun, quite interesting as well, because who doesn't like a little bit of subterfuge in their lore and everything like that. And you get a little bit more on the back as well, so the Curse of Unreason, mysterious disappearances, Death Watch investigation, and a terrifying legacy. So, fun stuff. Moving on from there, we actually go straight into a play section. Instead of having more lore or fiction or anything like that, we go straight into our play section, and this is giving us the Combat Patrol page for our good old Combat Patrol of the Genestealer cult. So, obviously, the Genestealer cult's Combat Patrol consists of the Magus, a unit of 10 Neophyte hybrids, another unit of 10 Neophyte hybrids, 5 Acolyte hybrids, 5 Aberrants, and our new, shiny, spangly Goliath rockgrinder. So, pretty cool stuff. If you're following all of that, you will have some stuff that's very, very similar to all of that. And yeah, happy days. Obviously, this does not include the bonus minis that we're going to get, which is the Atalan Jackals, which will be coming before issue 80, I suspect, which are also really, really cool. And yeah, happy days. So obviously we can add this to our good old pages of the good old Combat Patrols, and away we go. Have fun with them, enjoy yourself, and that's similar to what you're going to have if you're following the paint guide. If you're not following the paint guide, you're going to have obviously very different colours. So pretty cool, works very, very well, and yeah, it's a very nice, very, very nice Combat Patrol. Obviously, this is the older Genestealer cult Combat Patrol as well, so if you want to expand your army, if you want to go for a full Genestealer cult's army, get the new box. It does include more Atalan Jackals, but yeah, that's pretty good. And it includes things like the Achilles Ridge Runner and stuff like that as well. So it includes some really cool vehicles, as well as some more of the Genestealer cults. So, pretty good stuff. Anywho, moving on from there, obviously we have a new scenario for this week. Grind all opposition. So, utilising our Goliath rockgrinder, we get to go up against some pretty cool stuff. So, we get to use this. We get the Goliath rockgrinder in the middle there. We are going to be using the rockgrinder, and then you place one unit of 10 Neophyte hybrids within 6 inches of the rockgrinder. The opposition player will consult the table on the following page and stage their minis as they need to in that deployment zone. So, utilising the table, you will be going along this way. So, stage 1, 3 Hearthkin Warriors. Then, stage 2, 2 Einir Halfguard, then the Carl, 3 Oak Boys, Deathcopters, Boomdagger, Snazwagon, Infernus, Marines, Terminators, Chaplain on Bike, and Captain in Terminator Army, depending on the stage. Pretty cool stuff, and obviously you get to go all through your points there. So it's kind of like a wave assault. If you're playing as Genestealer cults, you're going to have waves of enemies coming towards you, and you get to smash them up and have a bit of fun against them. Pretty cool. Then you've got your tutorial page. So obviously giving us our how we can kind of track everything. So obviously wound tokens are pretty handy to have. Some people like to use dice. Some people just make a note of it. But yeah, entirely up to you. Vehicles though are quite chaotic in 40k. So they can explode on their kind of death essentially. So if they explode, they can damage and kill things around it. They can also hurt friendly units as well though. So if you have units in there, or if you're kind of within there and it's within 6 inches, yeah, you can accidentally friendly fire and hurt your own units. So be wary when using vehicles. Anyway, moving on from there, gives you your victory conditions and everything like that, and you get to have a bit of fun with it. And obviously we're going to utilise more of the Genestealer cults later on, which will be good fun. But for now, we're going to move on to what's coming next week. So, next week is our Cadian Command Squad for the Astra Militarum. Now, I must admit, I'm looking forward to the Astra Militarum. I do like them, they're pretty cool. This Cadian Command Squad is in place of a Commissar unit, which I think is a much better choice in all honesty than having a Commissar. But yeah, really, really cool. Then issue 72 is another paint issue, White Scar and Uriel Yellow. Yeah, 2 paints. White Scar is a brighter white than Corax White. Very, very handy to have in certain cases. Uriel Yellow is a brighter yellow than good old Avalon Sunset. So, why not? So, very good for edge highlights, these two. So, pretty cool. Anyway, that is enough from me. I've rambled at you far too long. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you sometime soon for some new style content and stuff like that we will try out on the channel, and it's up to you guys if you watch it, if you like it, and stuff like that, and if you want to see more of it. Anyway, for now, thank you very, very much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye now.